All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Digital Making at Home live stream. I am Christina. I'm a member of the Raspberry Pi Foundation team. This week, I am taking the lead on hosting and hanging out with you all as Mr. C is out. He has just welcomed a new member to his family, so we're sending him lots of love. But I am joined today by one of my another favorite person at the foundation, Matt. Go ahead and say hi, Matt.
Hey, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm so excited.
Thanks so much. Where are you joining us from, Matt?
I'm in Ohio.
Awesome. Can you tell folks a little bit, what's your role at the foundation?
So I'm the executive director of Raspberry Pi Foundation North America. I get involved in all the work we do all around North America. And I get to work with people like you, and I get to join the live stream, and I'm here to interact with the chat and talk to you all in the chat. And I already see Ali is here. Thank you for being here. So say hello. I say Avet is here. Thanks for being here. I'll be jumping in and watching the chat and chatting with all of you and learning from you.
Yes, awesome. Thanks so much. It's going to be a day of learning for sure.
Yeah.
So let us know where you are joining us from. I am in Nebraska. I see Lorenzo from Texas. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Welcome, Lorenzo.
Yes, one of my favorite things about the stream is how we have folks join us from all over the world. So definitely, we are streaming right now to Twitch, to Twitter, to Facebook, and to YouTube. So let us know where you are joining us from.
And we can see comments from all of you, no matter what platform you're on. So we got people from Brussels, Montreal. Wow, this is great. It's great to have all of you here.
Yes, welcome, welcome. So I'm really excited today, as usually what we have is we have Mr. C usually leads us on a coding adventure. And today I'm going to be on the coding adventure being taught by one of our colleagues, Martin. So let's go ahead and bring on Martin.
Hello.
Hi, Martin.
Hey,
welcome.
Martin.
How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. Really happy today.
Can you let folks know where are you joining us from?
So I'm joining from near Birmingham in the UK, so right in the middle of the UK.
And how's the weather there right now?
Grey. You know, we're getting into autumn, you know, it's grey. It'll be like this till March. It's fine, you know, we live with it every year.
Yeah. We're sending sunshine virtually to you from all over the world.
Definitely. Oh, we've got folks from England, Singapore, North Dakota, right above me. Welcome.
Nice.
Oh,
Lima, Peru. Jose, welcome.
Oh, yes. Bienvenidos.
Well, I've just seen John join from Staffordshire, and I can see Staffordshire from my house. I mean, that's the sort of, you know, the county border is that.
Yeah, nice. People close by, people far away.
Oh, we see a question here. Will this be available to rewatch afterwards? Yes. So you can go to rpf.io/home to rewatch any of this live stream, any past live stream. So definitely check those out and let us know what you think. You can also send us feedback on that page as well. So Martin, I'm really excited today. We've been doing a lot of coding on the live stream. We've done a lot of Scratch, but today we're actually going to be engaging with Python, which I know folks are excited about. We're going to be using a written programming language. But before we do that, how did you get involved with the foundation? Let's help folks know who is Martin. And as I said to you before we started, I told folks this, I'm a big fan of Martin, so this is actually my dream to do an interview.
I have worked for the foundation for 2.5 years, something maybe a little over that now. I came from before I joined the foundation, I worked in industry and I designed computer systems. You know, that was my job. That was the thing that paid. That was the thing that paid me. But alongside that, I did lots of other things. I did lots of educational outreach. I used to do contract work for the foundation to support our teacher training initiatives. And I used to do fun things with technology because I like doing fun things with technology. And I spent a lot of time creating things like Minecraft plugins and things like that. You know, I wanted a change. And, you know, if you've worked in fintech, so financial services technology for, you know, probably the best part of 20 years, coming to work for the Raspberry Pi Foundation is about as big a change as you can make. And I have loved every moment, you know.
Oh, that's great. You said so you've been here for about 2.5 years. So what is your role currently at the foundation?
So right now I look after online learning. So our online learning courses for anybody in the world can take one of our online learning courses, you know, subjects from computer systems, programming, networking, you name it. We have an online course for it. In fact, we have 29 online courses now. So please go and take one. Go to rprf.io/ I think it's online learning.
We'll
not, I'm
check,
gonna make
we'll
one
check
later.
and we'll come back. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could check on that. Matt's got that. He'll handle that one. Yes, these Future Learn courses are awesome. You from programming 101 to understanding the computer science to transitioning from scratch to Python to getting a club started. They're incredible courses.
So but that's my day job, me and a team, a group of people in what's known as the computer science education team. That's what we do. We create our online learning courses, and I would love more people to do them.
Yes, definitely. Well, we've got the tiny URL up, rpf.io/online learning.
That's
definitely
the one.
check those out.
Get it right. Well done, me.
Yes, way to go. Well, cool. Well, with digital making at home, a lot of our audience is young people and kids, and I'd love to know. Well, a question that I want to ask you is who was Martin when you were 10, 11? Who were you? What were you up to? What were you doing? And how did you get here?
So, 10, 11-year-old Martin was perhaps not what you imagine. I took every opportunity to not be inside. I was mountain biking, snowboarding, surfing, skateboarding, anything that involves standing on a plank of wood or going fast downhill on something was the thing that I did. And to be honest, is still the thing that I do. How did I get into computing? I suppose when I was sort of maybe 13, 14, and I'm picking what I want to do sort of qualifications in, pre-16 qualifications. I liked computer games, and my mum said, I think you should, do computing, do a computing qualification.
Oh, wow.
And it turned out I was good at it.
Shout out to Martin's mom.
Big up Martin's mum. Sheila did a good job. And it turns out I was good at it, and I'll be really open about this. It's probably the only thing I'm really good at, and we play to our strengths, kind of post that, really what I found myself was this sort of trajectory whereby I was good at something, and I've said it many times, I'm really good with a keyboard, right? I was good at something, and I was excited about it, and I loved the fact that I could make something out of nothing, and that perhaps seems a little bit strange and maybe a little bit abstract, but I love the idea that I can, create a thing, just from my own imagination, and I don't need anything else other than a computer to do that.
That's
it's very empowering.
Absolutely.
What is your earliest memory of creating something?
Oh, do you know? So I still hold this, right? And I guess I was probably 14 years old, something like that. We had a project at school, and we used BBC Micros, which were a really popular computer here in the UK. That sort of early 90s, sort of late 80s, sort of time. And then we had a project to create a Christmas thing, and we were given an open-ended project. And I remember making an animated Christmas card using BBC Basic, and that's the thing that's just sort of stuck with me. Probably my first proper programming experience, whereby I wasn't given a task to do. Hi, Martin, complete this problem. I was given a do something with this. And that's always stuck with me.
I love that. I think it's so powerful, especially for a young person, just be giving such an open, because I think a lot about the projects I did as a kid, a lot of them were here's your assigned national park, do research on this, versus, explore something you like, make something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Matt, do you have a first creation that you can think of?
Yes, absolutely. So I was really lucky because my dad sat me down in front of an old IBM computer, DOS computer, when I was a kid. And I remember he launched Lotus 123 for me, the spreadsheet application, and showed me how to make basically a store so that if eggs cost 10 cents each and you put 10 eggs in, it'll total up what it is. And so I made a cash register using a spreadsheet, so I could have my play cash register on the computer and set 10 eggs, 5 loaves of bread, and it'll give you a total at the bottom. And he showed me how to do the formulas inside the cells. And then that got me started. And then before I knew it, I was making DOS batch files to like make little menu systems and everything. It just like, for me, again, it was so empowering, like what you could create with it, you know?
Yeah, oh, that's really neat. I think it's also to hear for both of you, when you were young people, like having the chance to engage with coding. That wasn't actually something that I did like for no really understood reason, because my dad actually played with but he had played with computers. My brother ended up being a software engineer. And I think for me, my first really big creating something with code, a project that my idea was, I made a project, was it a year or two? Actually, it was last summer, because Martin helped in general with Summer Code Fest. I made a project where I actually used the Raspberry Pi and made it that if people use the hashtag Summer Code Fest on Twitter, my desk would light up. And it was one of the best. Actually, I might just bring that project back. We'll come up with a hashtag. And it was so much fun to see it as a way to connect. And that's what I love so much about technology, is how it connects people. The three of us, 3 different time zones, 2 different countries, are able to chat right now, which is really neat.
And I think there is something really empowering about creating something and seeing an action to just this, this magical thing that you have created. But it's not magic at all. It's entirely deterministic, and it's entirely made from your own skill. I think it's incredibly empowering. Right. I love it.
Definitely, yeah. Well,
and Rod in the chat is asking about more about your first creation.
My first creation. I think first is was like school projects and things like that. I think that the thing that I am most proud of that I have created is a project called Blue Dot. So Blue Dot is my sort of like response to a problem that I saw in Raspberry Pi, whereby it's really hard to control something remotely. It's the level of technology required to do that, and while it is really difficult, particularly if you want to open that up. And what Blue Dot is a remote control. So you can take an app on a phone, and you can press a button on the app, and something will happen on a Raspberry Pi computer, right?
And is the button blue?
The button is blue.
Okay,
and it's a big circle, and it's a dot.
That's checking on the design.
I got it.
And the reason I'm proud of that is incredibly simple, but also very, very powerful. And in terms of what you can do with it, it's only really limited by, your own imagination. You can take something that's very simple, which is basically just a big blue circle, and do some incredibly powerful things like control robots at variable speeds and things like that. But that's the kind of reason I'm proud of it, was because it was just a simple idea. And I don't think you have many of them in your life. You know what I mean? Sort of many of those sort of like simple ideas that turn out to be just good ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they also, you bring to fruition, right? That you end up sharing with folks. Like, I think I have so much respect for folks like you who are like, I have this idea and I'm going to make it real. Like, there was a tiny, like that, it is real. Blue Dot is real. And I think that's so powerful for me to hear, and also for young people to hear. Like, if you have an idea, try it, like explore it. That's awesome.
John.
Yeah, we got a question.
Yeah, John asked, when did I join Raspberry Pi? About 2.5 years ago. January the 4th, 2018 is when I joined Raspberry Pi.
Oh, wow. That's neat. I wanted to ask you about open source. I know that's something that you are passionate about and you do a lot of work with. Could you first describe in the loosest possible terms, what is it? Open source.
Okay. So I think what a lot of people think of open source is free. Yeah.
Right.
But not that. But I don't think that cuts across it, because actually, not all open source is necessarily free. But I think what the open source movement does is it says it is better to have something shared and available and open, i.e., I can see it, I can understand its workings, than it is to have something that's hidden, proprietary, and not understandable. Right. The reason I embrace open source software is whatever problem I come across, it's very unlikely I will be the first person to come across that problem, right? Yeah. And I definitely won't be the last. Yeah. So I take that opportunity. If I do create something, if I find myself with a challenge and I need a solution for it, if I create one, I made a commitment, and probably about 5 years ago, which basically said, if I find a problem, if I find a solution for it, I will share that solution, even if it's just sharing the code with nothing else attached to it. and just a small readme that tells me what it is, because I think by doing that, I add to an already incredibly diverse and very inclusive community. Yeah, that's why I'm really passionate about it, but also think it makes a difference as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's so important, right? Like I think that especially like when the internet first started, I remember my dad starting his blog and thinking about like blog spaces and people connecting, communicating. It's interesting, like especially with technology, it seems to be something that people want to keep private and want to keep hidden and keep secret. And so the power of open source, and like you said, like folks, if you're thinking about a problem, there's someone else is thinking about it. Like there is a community out there thinking about the same problem, and sharing your solution can be such a powerful way, because maybe even your solution may not be the best solution, but someone can take it and modify it.
Right. Absolutely. And the biggest challenge to, doing that is not a technology hurdle. It's a personal one of being able to go, I am happy to share this thing that I have created, right? Because you set yourself up for potentially ridicule almost, although in my experience that doesn't happen, but that's what you think will happen there is a level of confidence that you have to have, but in my experience it's almost always positive.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's great to hear. I mean when you said that, like the personal I literally just had a physical reaction.
Oh my god,
you having the confidence to share, and I was like, but I like being over here.
yeah, I like being over here with this thing that I've made, and like maybe other people won't like it,
And it's scary, and it's great to hear though that you've had such a positive experience, and that's so important. Like, and for folks to see that and hear that and know that like you are someone who's in that space that they can have a positive reaction with.
Yeah,
that's really
powerful. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, shall we jump into some coding? I'm ready to learn about Python and GUI and guizero.
So, what is it we're going to do? What is it we're going to do?
Okay, well, so let me tell you about guizero first. So guizero is an open source project. It is a Python library, and it wasn't created by me. I've done a lot of maintaining on guizero to kind of like turn the initial project into something that's a little bit more sustainable, has a little bit more future attached to it. But it was originally created by our colleague Laura Satchel.
Shout out to Laura!
Hi, Laura! So we're going to use guizero, and it's a great way to get started with creating graphical user interfaces. Right, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you the thing.
What do you mean when you say graphical user interface?
Yeah, so a graphical user interface. So if you're a normal, a typical user of a Windows or a Mac OS computer, what you're perhaps most used to. This is Mu, the Python IDE. That is a graphical user interface. Yeah, it has buttons and it has mouses and things like that. Yeah.
So what's an example of to me it's like everything's a graphical user interface. What's a not?
Well, should we fire one up and have a look?
Ooh.
This is an example of not a graphical user interface. This
terminal.
Is the command line. This is the Windows command line or terminal. So if I do dir, it shows me a directory listing. It's a text-based user interface, incredibly powerful user interface. Yeah, but not suitable for every application.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to make because I didn't want to create something that was, just like enter your name and put a box in. I wanted to create something that was a little bit fun, something that we can have a play with. So we might not get to this point, but I want us to create a painting application. So this is something that I made earlier. It's called PyPaint, right? And we can paint on it. So we can say, I'm a terrible artist. Hi. And then we'll do green, and then maybe a smiley face. We're going
to change colors.
Yeah, look at that. Right.
Lovely.
So that's what we're going to try. We might not get to that point,
right.
But we'll certainly get to a point where we have a mouse moving it across the screen, and we're going to draw some stuff.
Okay. I'm ready. Right. I'm ready to learn from you, Wizard Martin.
All right. Okay. So are you gonna share your screen now, Christina?
Yes, we're gonna share my screen.
Blank canvas here.
Okay. All right, cool. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create, our app, our first app, right? So, and it's going to be really simple. It's just going to be a window, and it's going to have like a little message on it, kind of the hello world of the graphical user interface. All right.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is, in order to use guizero, we need to import it. Right now, guizero is made up of like what we call widgets. Yeah. So what we're going to say is like from guizero, and we're going to import the widgets we need. So we're going to import the app widget, which starts with a capital A, app, and then we're going to stick a comma, and we're going to import the text widget. So the app is like the main thing. That's the window that you see. The text is going to be just as it says, a piece of text on that screen. All right, lovely.
It's funny, widgets have been like, I feel like just a buzzword lately because of like iPhone's iOS update, like all the widgets stuff that's been happening there. So for me, I had not really heard that word.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And so now it's like everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. I mean, it's not a new term, interestingly.
Right, it isn't.
It's just found its way into,
computer,
like regular like vocabulary. Yeah.
Okay, so now we've imported it. Let's create our app. So we need to give our app a name. I tend to just call it app with a little a, just because it's easy. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna say app equals, and then we're gonna use that app widget. So app with a big A, and then we're gonna well, I would say open a bracket, right? But we're gonna say parenthesis. There we go. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And now we have the option. Yeah, and so this is going to be our main window. So we have the option to give it a title. So let's give it a title, right? So you're going to say title, and you can say equals, and then you can call this, Christina, whatever you want. Go nuts. I mean, paint would be really cool, but that lovely.
Yeah, I love that creativity, Christina.
Make it your own, folks. If you're coding with us, make it your own. Let us know what your title is.
All right. So now what I want to do is I just want to put a title across the top, just to tell people what it is. Yeah. Right. And we're going to use that text widget to do that. So let's create a piece of text. We need to give it a name. Maybe we call it intro, or
so it's really the first thing folks see.
Or like whatever you think is a good word.
I feel good about intro.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. So intro equals, in exactly the same way we created that app, we're going to say text, because we're going to create a text widget.
Similar to line 2, and then we're going to, like it's in the UK, we're going to have our open bracket.
Open our bracket, right? Now we need to tell this widget what it's going to belong to, what it's going to be part of, right? And the thing it's going to be part of is our app, right? We want to put our text widget on our app. That's it. Lovely. And then we can give it, some text. What is this thing going to say? So again, go nuts.
This is the best part of coding.
Yeah.
All right, Christina's magical painting app. Fun.
Nice.
Do a little exclamation point.
Always.
Right, and I need to close it. That's important.
That's it, right? We have made our app, right? That's it. I mean, it's going to be pretty simple. But the last thing we need to do is we need to tell it to display itself, right? We need to tell it to
one
display,
more line of code. Got it.
One more line of code. We're going to say app. Yeah, we're going to say .display. Now, display is a function, or it's actually a method, but we won't worry about that. So because it is, we need to stick our parentheses in again. We need to call it.
Gotcha. I think that's so important, right, when we're thinking about the syntax. I think that's something that folks, especially when you're new to code, struggle with. And I'm curious for you, Martin, what advice you have for someone who's just getting started with Python. I imagine like syntax is, a lot of it's just practice, right? It's knowing and recognizing, hey, to call this function, we need to end it with parentheses. But any other
and also, don't try and remember everything,
right?
Because you never will, right? Google, other search engines are available, is your friend, because you will never remember it all, right?
So true.
My top tip for if you ever see a syntax error is look at the line it tells you, but also look at the line above.
Okay. All right. Words of wisdom from Martin.
So give it a run. Come on, save your program and give it.
Save it. Okay.
While you're doing that, shout out to Fethi in Tunisia. Ali's in there still. Ben, it's great to have you here.
Okay, it's running.
There we go. There's our little app.
Oh, there it says Magic Paint Party, Christina's magical painting app.
Yes. Nice.
All right.
Good. All right.
Okay, that felt good.
All right. Let's move on because we know
Everyone take a breather. All right, next.
All right. So the thing I want to do now is we need to add another widget to our app, right? And the widget we're going to add is what's called a drawing widget. Now, a drawing widget is just this like black hole of you can just put stuff on it, and that's where we're going to put our drawing. Yeah. Okay. So we need to import our drawing widget. So yeah.
I'm remembering. I remember. We added widgets
in line 1. You know what you're doing. Yeah.
Go back up there. So I'm at the top. I'm at the line 1 of code. I just added drawing. Okay. Now where should I go next? So
we're going to create our drawing widget. Now, the only kind of rule for this is we need to create it before we display it, right?
Okay.
And guizero will display the widgets in the order that you create them, right? So if you want it to be before your intro, you'd put it on the line before. If you want it to be after your intro, you'd put it on the line after.
Okay, let's do it after.
So again, you need to give it a name.
Ooh, okay. So let's just call it painting.
And Coding to Learn is asking, Martin, how often do you need to look up your own docs to figure out how to use your own software? You do that?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, right now, in another window, I have the guizero docs open, right? Because you know, if we go off piece, which Christina will, I'm sure, right? There will be something that I've forgotten, right? All the time.
And I think, folks, it's especially if you're new, and that was the biggest realization for me, was that you don't have to remember it all. Like, folks Google this stuff all the time. Martin has a doc, like he's not remembering his whole program. Like, it's you have references, you have colleagues, like people work together, they code together. So it's definitely, there's a community aspect of it. So if you're new to coding, if this is your first time seeing Python, welcome. We're so excited you're here. Code along with us. All right. Line 6, I have the name. What do I do?
You have a name, so you need to create your drawing widget. So, you know, stick drawing in there. Okay. And in the same way with our text widget, we need to tell it what it belongs to. Yeah. Okay. And it belongs to our app. We want it to appear on our app. There we go. Lovely.
Anything else after? Oh, nope.
That's it. Let's do it. Right. Okay. Now, when we run it, right, the drawing widget is white. Our app is white, so we're not going to see it.
Okay,
so what I would suggest we do is let's give it a background color just so we can see it. Yeah. Okay. And we can do that through setting what are known as properties, right? And there's a property called BG, background. Okay. Yeah. So if we say painting, yeah, and the BG, which is the property we want to set, and we can say equals, and you can give it a color.
Okay.
And that will set the background color of that drawing widget. Yeah. So we'll be able to see what it is.
Okay. And so since we named this, I named this painting. That's why we're using painting here. If I had named this Christina is amazing, we would have put Christina is amazing.bg. Yeah.
Or Bob or whatever. Whatever you thought that was.
When I first started, I made a lot of really silly names, and I was like unicorn sparkle.bg, and then I got some good advice of like, have fun with the names, but make sure they're practical.
Right.
So,
because you're gonna forget.
Yeah. So painting, it's a good one to go to, or I'm just going to be typing Christina's awesome over and over again. And while that's really uplifting, it's not as practical to help me make this app. Okay.
Right, let's give it a run. Let's see what's going on.
There's Mr. C also. He's saying
Mr. C.
All the best software engineers are awesome at Googling. He's watching.
Oh, thanks for watching. Hi. All right. I'm gonna
Go on, give it a run. Yeah. Oh, wait, to me, every time you run in mute, I'll save it for you. But yeah, just run it.
Shout out to you.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Okay.
Oh, now we've got a black square, but it's a bit small, isn't it?
Stamp.
It's a tiny black square. I think we should make that a bit bigger. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, let's make it bigger.
All right. So let's go back to our code, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to set the width and the height, right? So we could set that width and the height to whatever we want, like number of pixels or something. But what we're going to do is we're going to tell it tell the width to be to fill and the height to fill. And what that's going to do is that's going to basically tell our drawing widget to fill whatever space is available to it. It's going to fill the whole thing, right? Because we want it to be as big as our application can be. Yeah. So when we create our drawing widget, so when you told it belongs to the app, what we're also going to do is we're going to set a couple of attributes to say your width is going to be the fill and your height's going to be the fill. Okay. So
that's all going to go back into line 6.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
In the brackets.
Yeah.
Okay.
inside the parentheses. You use brackets. I'll use parentheses.
Yeah, you're accommodating each other very nicely.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. It's all about working together. Okay, so width.
Width equals fill.
Okay, fill. And why do I have to put? Do I have to put quotes? Is that just syntax? Like when you put in fill?
The reason you have to put quotes is just because we're passing it a string or a piece of text. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
All right.
Come on. I'm a big fan of, every time you change something, run it.
Right.
Let's see the effect of it. Let's make sure it works.
Yay!
Yay! So now we have a big black square.
Yes.
That's better. Yeah.
Can you draw on it already, or is it not yet?
No.
Not
So,
yet.
right. Yeah. No. Now we have to do right. It's not the hard bit at all, but it's I would consider it the fun bit.
Okay.
But what we're going to do is we are going to change our program so that every time you drag your mouse across that painting widget, that drawing widget, it's going to draw a dot. Yeah.
Okay.
So in theory, if we can do it quick enough, right, we'll draw a line.
Okay.
All right. So
Scratch, because I know there's a extension in Scratch Pen that does a similar thing. So same that I've connected now with Python. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
But we need to talk. We need to talk about something first, right?
Okay, Martin, talk to
So
me.
we need to talk. We need to talk about event-based programming. Now that might sound, they're three big words, but it's not scary. Event-based programming is slightly different to if you've done Python before. Where most programs you would write in Python start at the top and they run down, all the way until they get to the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. With event-based programming, we are going to do something a little bit different. Yeah, mm-hmm. We are going to wait for something to happen. Yeah, and then when something happens, we're going to do something. We're going to take an action, right? So the something waiting for something to happen is called the event. Yeah, and the event that we're going to wait for happen is the mouse being dragged. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, right. And the thing that we're going to do is draw, a circle. Yeah,
all right.
Okay, so to draw a circle, we're going to create ourselves a little function. Yeah, and I think I sent you this function because there's a little bit to type out. But what I want us to do is see the effect of that, and then we'll talk about what that function does.
Okay, where should I put it?
Do you know, it doesn't really matter. Before you use it, let's go for. I normally go for after app, but before I create my widgets, just because I like to keep my code tidy,
Sense. Okay. I will grab this one.
So this is code you've written, Martin, previously.
Yeah. And in a minute we're going to go through and talk about what it does. Right. Okay. So that's our function. That's going to draw a circle on that drawing, on that painting widget. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. I mean, it's good. It's actually going to draw an oval, but the oval is going to be a circle.
I love that you're beautiful, and it's you wrote this code. Fantastic, lovely.
I mean, a circle is just an oval that's the same width and height. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Okay. So once we've done that, we need to tell our program, to call that function when we drag the mouse. All right. Okay. So what we're going to say is we're going to say painting. Yeah. You're gonna have to put that after you've created the widget. I'm afraid.
That's a good point, right? So because we made it here.
Yeah, we made it there.
Put it underneath, right there.
Yeah, beautiful work. Right. Anyway, so we're going to say painting.
Okay.
And the event that we're going to use is something called when mouse dragged. So when _mouse _dragged. I mean, it's a lot to type. To type, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And we're going to say equals, right? And we're going to say what do I do, when the mouse is dragged? And the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that circle, right?
Mm-hmm. And when mouse is dragged is part of that library, right? That we've imported, right? That Laura essentially created.
Yeah, it's part of guizero. It's already been created, and it's there for you to use. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something for me when I first started with Python, really understanding that there's all this stuff there that you're pulling from. It's not that you are creating something like some folks do, like Laura created guizero, but a lot of learning to code is understanding a library and knowing what you need to pull from to create, for in this case, an app. So it's not just Martin make that up. He didn't say, oh, when mouse drag, like this was already there and you're using it. All right, should I run it?
Yeah, always.
Let's see.
Always. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, so now I need to draw or like hold my mouse.
Go on, have a go. Yeah.
Ooh!
Oh,
Nice.
so we've got thing. We've got.
It looks like a constellation.
Yeah.
I go slow. Oh, it's still
Yeah, we have a problem though, don't we?
Yeah, because it's just dots.
It's just dots. Yeah. There's and the problem is that those events happen pretty quickly, but you're pretty swift on the mouse as well, so we don't get as many events as we do as you moving it across, right? So that's why you see those dots. We're not drawing enough dots. Right.
Okay.
And there's probably ways that we could speed this up and draw more dots or stuff like that. Or there's probably a simpler solution. And the simpler solution is, rather than draw dots, is to draw lines. Yeah. So what we're going to do is imagine. So these events happen. So mouse drag, mouse drag. Is we're going to draw a line between where the mouse drag starts to where the next one is. Yeah. Okay. And that's how we're going to start to see the paintbrush appear. All right. So
the magic paint party.
The magic paint part. But just before we do that, right? Let's have a quick look at this function, right? Yes. So def draw. When we create a function in Python, we start with definition. Yeah, we give it a name. Yeah, and then we've got our parenthesis, and we've got event. Now, event is the thing that's passed to us by guizero, and the event is what has happened. Now, in this case, it's a mouse event, so it's got an X and a Y, and the X and the Y is the position on that painting widget of where the mouse was at that point, and we can use that X and that Y to draw our circle, right? Now, the circle that we're drawing is, if you kind of imagine you're drawing a circle in a square, it's a bit weird, right? But if you imagine you're drawing a circle in a square, that -1 is on the top left. Yeah.
Okay.
That +1 is on the bottom right. So I'm perhaps like setting myself up for failure, but how do we think we would make that dot bigger?
How do we make the dot bigger?
Yeah. Well, if the -1 is that way and the +1's this way, if we make our numbers bigger, we make the square bigger. The dot inside will be bigger.
Oh, the dot inside will be bigger. Because I was like,
the
square's bigger. Then so the dot will automatically be bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Do you want to have a go?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, I mean, this wasn't part of my plan at all. Yeah, but let's change those numbers to like I don't know, like 10 or something like that. Just
-10.
Just stick a 0 on the end. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. You said that I was going to like wing it, but Martin. Okay, let's do this. All right, now we're going to run it. Okay. So now what we should see is bigger dots.
Yeah, we should bigger dots.
Ah, nice.
Oh,
wow, I'm feeling some serious like paint nostalgia.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Nice.
And interestingly, what we found is because our dots are bigger, right? There's less gaps in between them, but there's still gaps. Yeah.
Right.
So we should still fix this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we are going to, instead of drawing a dot, which we've worked out doesn't work, we're going to draw a line. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in order to draw a line, we need to capture, first of all, where the line starts. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And where it finishes. Now, where it starts will be, if you imagine when you're like dragging your mouse, what you're doing is you press it down. Yeah, you press your mouse down and then you move it.
Right.
So where it starts is the point that you press it. Yeah. And where it finishes is the point that you've dragged it to.
Okay.
All right. So I gave you another function, didn't I?
Yeah.
Which was draw. Yeah.
That one. I'm going to put it underneath, and then I'll delete the other one, but I'll put it underneath so we can compare the two.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. All right.
So now instead of drawing a line, what we're going to do is we're going to draw. Instead of drawing an oval, what we're going to do now is draw a line, right? But you can see that bit that says start event. We need to work out where our line starts. Now, to do that, we're going to add a new function, right? And what should we call our new function? Let's call it start, shall we? that seems like a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. So so you're going to need to use def. So you're going to say def.
Okay.
DEF, and you're going to say start. And again, you got parenthesis, and you're going to get that event. Yeah, and then you're going to close it, and then you're going to stick a colon in. Lovely, right? Okay, so we're going to call this function when you press the mouse button, and then we're going to store the start of our line, right? And we're going to store it against that painting widget. So we can say carriage return, a little indent as well. We're going to say painting.
Okay, sorry. I was
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, painting, and then dot, and then we're going to say start event. Yeah, equals event. All right. So we've now saved that event. We now know where our line starts. However, we need to make sure that we call that function when the mouse button is pressed, right? So we're gonna set up a new event like we did when the mouse was dragged. But this time the event's going to be when left button pressed. So if we go down our program to where we to just after we created that painting widget, we've got when mouse dragged, yeah, and we're going to say painting dot when left. Oh, is it? Yeah. When left button
underscore right button.
Yeah, underscore button underscore press. See, this is me checking documentation.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's great. It's not bad. I remember all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going to say equals start. Right. So that's the when the left button's pressed, we're going to call that start function. It's going to store where the line starts. All right. Okay. And then when the mouse is dragged, it's going to call our draw function. Right. So if we just have a quick look at that draw function.
Okay.
What it's going to do is it's going to draw a line, and it's got two sets of coordinates. It's got painting start event, and it's got event, right? So it's going to draw a line between the X and the Y of where it started and the X and the Y of where it is now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to, and it's going to make it white. Okay. There is a bit that we have missed off though. So if you imagine you press the button and then you drag it, yeah. When you press it, you drag it. The start point, yeah. The next time you drag it will be the end of the line you just drew.
Okay.
So at the end, so just after we've drawn the line, Christina, what we're going to do is we're going to put a line of code in, yeah, and we're going to say,
which line right here?
Yeah, just there, stick a line in, yeah. And what we're going to say is now after we've drawn the line, the start event, yeah, is going to be the event that where we are now.
Whoa,
it's like trippy, It's like
okay. All right. So what do I need to write?
Yeah. So stick a tab in because it's part of this function. It's part of draw, and we're going to say literally painting dot start underscore event.
And then equals
the event that we've just received. Right. So now, right. When you press it, that's the start point, and every time you drag, your line gets bigger. Okay. I mean, this. So we need to get rid of our old draw function.
Yeah. Right.
Get rid of the oval. That was fun. Adios.
Your drawing circles is rubbish. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Come on. Let's start it and give a run. Let's see what happens.
Okie dokie. Moment of truth.
Right. Okay.
Yay!
Whoa! That looks great.
And while
we magic.
So while we're drawing straight lines, because there's so many of them, it doesn't look straight, yeah?
Right. That's awesome.
Nice work.
Right. I mean, with such few lines of code to be able to make a whole painting app, that's great.
Yeah, this is super cool. I mean, I'm wondering, do you think we have probably like a few minutes left? Right now it's white. Is it possible to make it where we can change the colors?
Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Come on, we can do this in 2 minutes.
All right. Ready.
All right. So again, let's. What we're going to do is we're going to add in a combo widget. So a combo widget is like a drop-down list. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same way you've imported all your other widgets, let's import a combo as well. Right.
Okay. Imported.
And what I would suggest is I've just sent you a bit of code, which is the color picker code. So it starts color picker. So rather than you having to type that out, we can just copy and paste that, and we'll see what it does.
Okay, let me.
Right. So that's going to be our combo widget. And again, same rules. You need to put it, where you want it to appear. So I would say like after the intro, but before the painting widget. Otherwise, it's going to look a bit weird at the bottom.
So like line 19?
Yeah, around there.
Okay.
So we have now created a combo widget. It looks the same as all the others, so it's got a name.
Yeah.
It's got it belongs to the app. Yeah, but it's got a few options, and the options are basically what appears in the drop-down list. In this case, a list of colors. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
So now we've got a way of picking a color. If we go up to our draw function,
right, we're going to do this, right?
Yeah. So see where it says color equals white, because it's always white. Yeah? So rather than being white all the time, what we're going to do is we're going to take the value from that combo box, and we're going to stick it in there instead. So we can say literally color picker. That was the name we gave our drop-down list.
Okay.
See how I've done American spelling as well?
Yeah.
Nice work. Thanks.
Yeah. And then we can say dot value, and that dot value will always return to us, what's been selected by that combo box. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Give it a run.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So hopefully what we should see now is we should see that combo box right at the top, that drop down, right at the top.
Oh, cool.
Small.
Oh, yeah, there we go. And then we can pick which color we want. So now when we draw the lines, it's taking the value from that combo, and using that when it draws the line. And if you were to change it, you can.
Nice.
Oh, yay.
Cool.
Neat. And you can go, if you're a teacher, if you're a student, like you can go back and you can change this. So, I mean, color picker, like black wouldn't really work because our background's black. So I know one of my favorite colors is dark turquoise. And you can like Google colors to use.
Is that a color? I'm really surprised about that.
It is. Yeah. I just blew Martin's mind. Yep.
I'd have to look in the documentation. Is it going to work?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to work at that.
Wow. Great. Love that color.
Just got a little excited, but yeah.
Yeah.
My mouse is, but yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Martin.
I enjoyed that. That was great fun,
Yeah. Here, let's look at the magic code that we did. I'll zoom out so we can see all of it. It's like a little, but it's a lot at the same time, right?
Right.
So
you built it up. You built it up. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's one of the things we should recognize is that you don't sit down and write 2,000 lines of code. You sit down and write 2. Right. And then you run it, and then you try it, and then you expand.
Definitely. Yeah. I think we have a tiny URL up.
That's where you can learn all about guizero.
Yeah. So you can make your own apps. You can make this one, and definitely share with us what you're making at home. This was a lot of fun, Martin. I've never made an app before, so this is my first time. So thank you so much for I know I'm a professional. Taking us on this journey. For sure. Now, if you are at home, definitely let us know what you think. Let us know what you made. And if you have, you can go to rpf.io/home. You can share your projects with us. You can share your feedback. And you can also let us know, what do you want us to see? What do you want to see next on Digital Making at Home? We will be doing this again tomorrow at a USA friendly time at 6:30 Eastern time, 3:30 Pacific. And then we'll be back again next week coding more projects. And we'd love to see you all here. So, yeah.
And thanks to everyone who participated in the chat. Ali, John, Yolanda, Malek, Fred, Mark stopped by too. New father Mark came in. That was awesome. We hope we'll see you all again soon.
That's been great fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks so much, Martin. And thank you all to our community. We miss you all so much. We hope everyone is staying safe. And we can't wait to see you all next time on Digital Making at Home. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.